Hi, everybody. Today I want to talk to you all about Gerascophobia, which is a fear of growing old. Now, y'all know that I've been advocating for the right to die, and one of the main reasons is because, although life sucks already, I think it's going to be infinitely worse when I get old. Yeah, I guess it's something that I try not to think about, but I feel that in society, there is a huge emphasis on age. People are constantly asking you how old you are, and it's just in casual conversation, and they act as if this is a harmless question, right? It's not, because there's a judgment that comes with it. When someone asks you about your age, they're there's different standards for men and women. But for men, they're usually judging you based on your level of success, based on your age. You should be at a certain point in life. Um, And then, in the gay community, getting older is almost like the kiss of death. You may as well not even exist once you get old. Um, if you do reach a certain age, you can still be relevant in the gay scene, but you're pretty much going to have money. Otherwise, you get put in a daddy um, category, or even grandpa, and no, it's not something that you would want on yourself. And once you get put in that category, you are absolutely expected to have money, because no young guys are going to be interested in you unless they're getting something out of it. So that's one of the worst aspects about life, is growing old. Now look at all these older people who are extremely slow, like, in terms of walking. They may talk slow, they have cognitive decline. And I don't know. I guess they're happy, and they don't want to die, and everybody's clinging to life. But I look at that, to me, that seems like a damn nightmare. I don't want to be dependent on people. I don't want to look old. I don't want to feel old. I don't want to have arthritis. I don't want any of that shit. And so, yeah, that's one of the worst aspects of life, is the fact that you're going to have to get old. Now, people try to do other things to cope with it. They try to date younger, they try to have children. But, um, I'm going to get into these articles, but what the, the data is saying is that the fear of growing old is really a fear of death. And I'm not sure well, maybe it is for most people. At the end of the day, when the purpose of life is death. That when you get older, you're actually dying. That's what that is. It's a dying process. So I don't understand why people who are afraid of death would impose that on others. And nobody wants to get old. Um, and I guess on a certain level, it is narcissistic, and it's a vain thing to be obsessed about your looks. But I think it's relevant in terms of your quality of life, especially if you're gay. If you're a woman, if you're a man, a heterosexual man, maybe it's not that relevant, because it is based on your success. But for everybody else, your looks are completely relevant. And in this society, it's like the older you get, the less respect you get. It's not even considered a good thing to be older. It's like you're old, you're irrelevant, you're not fun, you're boring. I guess I'm boring, and I don't think I was always that way, but life has a way of changing you. You go through some shit, and then you become jaded, and you're not as fun as you used to be. So what was that song that Miley Cyrus did about how she used to be young? Yeah, she said that she was fun at one point because she used to be young. And she's only, what is she, 30? Come on. You know, to me, I still look at Miley Cyrus as young, but I don't, in society, I don't know. I guess once you hit 25, it's like it's downhill or something. I don't know. There's so many evolving standards of what is considered old. people are saying that 30s are the new 20s and 40s are I don't know. At the end of the day, you're still being judged based on your age, even when it comes to careers. Um, this everything in society is based on age. Now, let me get into this article because as I go through it, there's things that I want to discuss. So, this is Gerascophobia. Gerascophobia refers to the excessive fear or anxiety about the process of growing older. This fear can result in avoidance of aging related stimuli or situations and can have a negative impact on an individual's overall well-being, excuse me. Although Gerascophobia is less common than other phobias, it can affect an individual's function by causing distress and impairment in significant areas of life. I don't know that it's not that common. I mean, this isn't a word that is prevalent in the zeitgeist right now, but really narcissism wasn't either, right? These are psychological elements that they need to be brought to the forefront, but it is common. People do fear growing old. There is a heavy emphasis on aging. And I mean, we can talk about celebrities trying to look young, but everybody's trying to do that. Everybody's focused on skincare products and trying to dye their hair and be as young as possible. Working out, doing all these things to try to, nobody wants to get old. And you know what I think the number one thing that's going to age you out of anything else is going to be having children. I mean, and that's for anybody because you're and relative to your child, when that child stands next to you, you're going to look old. Um, Now, when I look at my nieces, I have one niece, but my younger cousins, it's like, oh, you know, they're I don't know, this being around them just makes you feel old. It's just I don't know. Let's keep going. Gerascophobia is a psychological condition that refers to excessive, persistent, and irrational fear of aging, encompassing physical, cognitive, and social changes associated with it. I don't know that it's irrational though. I think that society does basically put you out the pasture once you reach a certain threshold. So, um, socially, you're going to be ostracized because you are older. Nobody's going to respect you anymore. Nobody thinks that it's almost like the older you get, they think that you're dumber. Um, you're less interesting, and you basically have your utility in society declines. That's how people see it. So, um, I don't know. Unless you're wealthy, I don't for a poor person or middle class. I don't see any plus sides to getting older. This condition can manifest in various ways, including avoiding mirrors or social activities involving older adults and engaging in excessive skincare or anti-aging routines to delay aging-related changes. This is all over social media. It's all about trying to stay younger, which I can say that I'm guilty of that myself. I have indulged in all of these products and devices. I could go down the whole gamut. Let me see if I have any comments here. Hello to you. Um, and they think that it's only about women. I don't think that it's just women anymore. I think men are focused on aging too, because again, unless you have money, it's going to be about looks, and so you want to maintain your youthfulness as long as you can, as much as you can. Um, I could go down a list of all the things that I'm doing right now. I just did radio frequency. I have an LED mask. I use tretinoin, peptides, vitamin C. By the way, if you're going to use vitamin C, you should use squalene because it has deeper penetration than just water or hyaluronic acid. Hyaluronic acid is bullshit. That it gives you a temporary pumping, but it doesn't have any long term benefits. Y'all can go check Dr. Dre about that because she says that it does help with the skin barrier function. Anyway, and they always say that black don't crack. It's not true. So because I'm black, I was always told we don't need sunscreen, right? Well, the reality to that is if you have darker skin, you're not going to burn. So you don't have to worry about UVB, but you do have to worry about UVA. And I'm outside all the time because I'm constantly gardening and it has taken a toll. So now I'm trying to reduce or reverse some of the damage that I've done. But I don't know why the people say that stuff to say that because you're black, you don't need to protect your skin. You absolutely do. Again, it's not about burning, it's about aging. And for some of us, that does matter. The term Gerascophobia originates from the Greek phrase Gerasco, which means I'm getting old, combined with the word phobios, meaning dread or deep fear. Despite its prevalence, Gerascophobia has not been categorized in the DSM-5. However, it can affect both men and women equally, and individuals with a history of trauma, negative attitudes towards aging, or a family history of anxiety or depression may be more susceptible to this condition. Now, my dad died at 67. I think that was probably an appropriate age because I know he did not want to get any older than that and have to rely on people. So in a way, it was sad to watch him go, but I think that was probably about right for him. If he would have gotten into his 70s and 80s, I don't think he would have been happy. Um, he had already retired. Yeah, I think that was about right. But getting old is a serious um, aspect of life that there's nothing pleasurable about it, or there's nothing to look forward to. It's like you work your entire life. Now that you finally get to retire, you're too old to enjoy it, right? I mean, if you protect your health, maybe you are still active in your late 60s and 70s. Um, but a lot of people are still working in the 60s and 70s, by the way, because they don't have a choice. But for most people who this, it's not always a choice. It's not always, you don't always have the option of being as healthy as you would like to be because you don't have time to focus on that. You don't have time to prepare healthy meals and put on sunscreen and go to the gym and do all that stuff. So just because of your quality of life, you're going to age like everybody else, and you're probably going to have all kind of health problems and heart disease and obesity and all kinds of stuff and diabetes. So, I mean, I drink way too much soda. I know I shouldn't. And they say that soda has too much sugar leads to glycation in products, which basically destroys collagen. But artificial sugar is even worse because if you're drinking sweet and low or sucralose, well, sucralose destroys the gut microbes, but the what is that? Aspartame, that's the worst. That causes cancer, and it tastes like shit too. Um, I wish they had more products with stevia in it because I like stevia. A lot of people say that stevia has a bad aftertaste, but it's actually the healthiest um, sweetener or zero calorie sweetener because it is alkaline and it's natural. It's not chemical. Like even sucralose is a chemical. So which I just found out that sucralose they're recommending that for cancer patients. I don't know why they're not recommending stevia instead. But anyway, it smoking, stress, sun exposure, all those things are going to cause you to age. Here are some potential signs and symptoms that may suggest an individual is experiencing Gerascophobia. Persistent and excessive fear of aging or growing old, avoidance of situations or activities that remind them of aging or mortality. Um, I'm going to say the worst one is constantly being asked your age. I think it's such a rude question. There are ways to indirectly find out somebody's age, but this to go up to somebody directly and say, "How old are you?" I think that's rude as fuck. And before I used to get anxiety about that, but now I just tell people, "Oh, I don't discuss that." And then of course I get pushback. Oh, why don't you want to? Okay, at that point now I'm just going to be direct and tell you because it's none of your business, and I don't even feel guilty about being that direct because they were bold enough to ask me, so I'm bold enough to answer. Frankly, and it is what. Or I could just ignore you. So I'm either going to ignore you or I'm going to give you a direct answer. Either way, I'm not going to answer your question because I don't go around thinking about my age until somebody asks me about it. But it does stress me out. I don't feel that I am where I should be in life in terms of success, and I don't want to be reminded of that. I know I look younger than people my age, but it is what it is. When you ask me, then now you're trying to relegate me to a number, and it's an objectification, and I don't like it. So I know people think that it only applies to women. It does when it comes to looks, but when it comes to success, men are just on based on their age also. Anxiety or panic attacks relating to aging or mortality, obsessive preoccupation with physical appearance or youthfulness, fear of losing independence or becoming dependent on others. I would say I'm also I do have anxiety about that. I don't want to be dependent on others. I don't want anybody to have to walk me, to bathe me. I don't want to have to depend on people to provide me with food. I don't want any of that shit. So when I'm no longer self sufficient, I'm just ready to go, and I want that option. I want that to be on the table. I'm sorry, I don't. People are saying that's not a legitimate reason to die. It is. It absolutely is. That sounds like fucking hell. Obsession with health, illness, or death. Okay, I would imagine because you're so miserable, depending on others. Difficulty accepting compliments or positive feedback relating to aging. That's probably because it's such a backhanded compliment. You look good for your age. Nobody wants to hear that shit. Oh, for your age, you're doing no. I'm sorry. It is what it is. I don't need you to constantly remind me of my age. Withdrawal from withdrawal from social activities or relationships due to fear of aging or mortality. Um, One of the things that I mean, y'all know I'm schizoid. Again, it's not schizophrenic. It's schizoid. It's an extreme introvert. One of the main reasons I don't want to date is because of all that stuff. I don't want to go through that whole process of how old are you and this and that and getting all up in my business. I'd rather keep it on a surface level, and keep it moving. I mean, some of y'all need that. Some of y'all, I know humans are supposed to be social animals. I'm not a social animal. I don't need that. I don't need to talk to people. I don't need attention and validation. I like to be alone. Um, yeah, I just to me it's more trouble than it's worth. And to me, talking is just a bunch of noise. If I am going to talk, it's because I'm gaining knowledge or we're doing something productive. But just to make small talk and sitting around cracking jokes, no, I don't enjoy that at all. I think it's just a waste of time, and it's actually stressful because I have to make too much effort to try to entertain the other person and make them laugh and try to be clever. I don't even feel like making an effort. But it's a good thing that I'm gay because if I were straight, I guess that is important when you're trying to court somebody. I don't have to do that, and I'm glad that I don't. Depression or low mood related to aging or mortality, changes in sleep or eating habits related to anxiety or fear. Um, Let me see if I have any comments before I go on. Yeah, it does get more difficult. It's rough. It's rough. I mean, a lot of people think that they're going to die young, but then when they get old, it just kind of hits them and slaps them in the face. They don't even see it coming. It's like because you don't think about it, you don't see how gradually you're aging, and you don't see that your health is declining. But um, it does creep up on you, and there's nothing you can do about it. I just don't. I mean, when you create a baby, do you think about the fact that your baby is eventually become some 90-year-old man who has to walk with a cane and has all these health problems? Like my grandma lost her eyesight and had to pee in a bag and was in a wheelchair. Um, does anybody even think about that, or you just think that you're only creating a cute little baby? You're not. Let's get into the second article. Fear of aging has been defined as people's concerns about getting older, such as worries and about declines in health and physical functioning, financial problems, cognitive decline, and changes in physical appearance and social losses. It is also called Gerascophobia, aging anxiety, and fear of growing old. According to Medicine Net, fear of aging, which is called Gerascophobia, has been defined as abnormal and persistent fear of growing old. Gerascophobia is derived from the Greek geras, old age, and phobios, fear. People with Gerascophobia feel severe anxiety about aging, even though they may be in good health. Um, it's not okay. Let's just keep going. It's not just about health, though. Lasser and Faulkner define aging anxiety as the concern and anticipation of adverse physical, mental, and personal losses during the aging process. Fear of aging can negatively affect health of younger and older people. For example, I'm not going to read that. Other studies have shown that the fear of aging is associated with the fear of usefulness, loss of opportunities, yes, psychological distress and depression, cardiovascular problems, negative impact on health and well being, greater global disturbed eating, and poor life satisfaction. Yes, yes, because you're going to be put out the pasture, both career wise and socially. Nobody wants to deal with somebody who's older, and that applies to men and women. The only difference is that men can compensate for it with money, but I guess women nowadays, women can do it too. Um, yeah, because men don't even mind being the what do you call those? A lot of yeah, you can be a homosexual. You can yeah. I don't. I mean, I don't. I guess nowadays it's starting to change where if a woman has money, she can get a man too. It didn't used to be that way because men didn't used to want the woman to have more money than them. But yeah, if you're a woman with money, you can get a young man too. But I don't know how long that's going to last because well, I'm not going to go there. I mean, this is the patriarchy that we live in. That people are traditional. They have defined roles between men and women, but traditionally, men don't like for women to have more money than them. That may not be the case in 2024. With regard to adverse effects of fear of aging on health, it is imperative to identify factors contributing fear of aging. Okay, here are these theories. It's the social identity theory, excluding from in-group members, um, which in the gay, like I said, in the gay scene, that is a huge deal. If you're old, you may as well be dead. I don't if you're old, it's time for you to go find somebody to settle down with because you're no, you're basically going to be excluded. So I don't know. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do because I'm schizoid. I don't want to be in a relationship. So terror management theory, warning of diminished beauty and health. Okay, fear of aging, social clock theory, failing to achieve expected life events. That applies to me too. Stereotype embodiment theory, internalizing ageist stereotypes, double standard of aging theory, struggling to meet social expectations. Let me see if I have any comments. I see a lot of it on sites like Grindr, men who blatantly put no one over 30. Well, yeah, and what it does is it basically forces people to lie. And everybody lies on Grindr. And I'm not that I use Grindr. Um and I'm not just saying that just because I'm on here. I actually don't use Grindr, but even on other websites, you have to lie about your age, and you basically have to lie about your dick size because um, it is what it is. Everybody's lying. So if you tell the truth, you're basically going to be screwing yourself. It's almost like it's not a lie because everybody expects you to. They expect some level of puffery. I don't. Let me see what you say. I don't understand why a woman would want to be bothered with a man romantically if she's financially secure or old. Um, because a lot of women don't want to be alone. If they're secure in themselves, fine. But a lot of first of all, and I'm coming to realize this too, is I talk to more women that women want beyond this companionship. Women are sexual beings too. They want sex. I don't know if they necessarily want that constantly, but yeah, and women don't really. I'm not going to say all women, but a lot of women don't want to be promiscuous, especially when they get older. They want to have that one person they can have sex with, and they don't want to, yeah, because it's a safety issue. You can, I think men have that luxury where they can be promiscuous and not. I mean, I don't know. I'm. It's hard for me to talk about this because I know what goes on in the gay culture. I don't know what goes on in the straight culture. I know that when women try to do the same things that men do, the outcome is not the same. What they're going to get violated. You just can't. It's just not the same. So women do want to be monogamous, especially when they get older. Um, I don't know. I don't know why you would want a man who's not providing for you financially, other than companionship. I think. Well, according to JD Vance, there's something wrong with you if you prefer to be around cats. But I'm a cat person myself. I love cats. I yeah, I would take a cat over a roommate any day or a partner. I don't need another person living with me. Um, let's keep going. Terror. Let me make sure y'all can. Okay, here we go. Terror management theory. Terror management theory was developed in 1986 by social psychologists based primarily on the ideas of Ernest Becker. According to TMT, humankind has unique self-awareness about his own mortality. That is, that this knowledge terrifies him. Aging as the most direct reminder of death can lead to anxiety. Therefore, physical signs of aging, such as diminished beauty and declining health, create the fear of aging. To avoid death, young people attempt to remove themselves from aged people, thus amplifying fear of aging. Um, I don't know. Do young people? I see that. I could see a young person. A lot of times, young people don't want to be like, even like I've seen this more so when it comes to celebrities, right? Or like musicians, they don't want to be around older people. They want to be around younger people because they don't want to be. It's like you get older by association. So I can see that. Yeah, I think younger people. Excuse me. I think older people would prefer to be around younger people because it makes them feel young. Um, this society is really obsessed with youth. So I don't. I don't know. It's really obnoxious at this point because if you don't, it's almost like when you get older, there's supposed to be wisdom that comes with that. But if you're obsessed with youth, then you're basically just worshiping people who don't know anything. Um, it can be postulated that the origin of aging anxiety is rooted in the fear of death. I It probably is in most cases. I would also say that it's a fear of life. because I would think that if you don't want to get old, then you would embrace death and then you would just die young. But no, most people cling to life, and then the consequence of that is that they grow old. Social identity theory. Social identity theory was developed in 1979 by Tafel and Turner to understand the psychological basis of intergroup discrimination. The theory explains the ways in which people attach themselves or identify with a social group. According to this theory, there are two processes, including self characterization and social comparison, that may contribute to fear of aging. Um, yeah, I think that when people, I mean, I guess when you're younger, people sort of throw their age out like kind of casually. Oh, I'm 24. Oh, I'm this. It's like, and then that's a reminder of how old you are, and then it makes you have some kind of anxiety. Like, I don't discuss age, but I feel like everyone around me is constantly doing that. In line with self characterization, individuals highlight the similarities of those in their group according to social comparison, where the members of in group view themselves more positively and view people in out groups more negatively. These processes could lead to negative attitudes about older adults, which are considered in the out group by the younger in group members. Therefore, pride, self esteem, and sense of identity of individuals are based on group membership. Um, yeah, because it's almost like if you're in the category, I don't, it depends on what the category is. So it's like, if you say that the young people are 30 to 45 and you're 44, well, you're still clinging on to the fact that you're in that young category, even though you're on the cusp of being 45. Yeah, and in society, they're always trying to round up. It's like you're 39 and they're saying that you're 40. No, you're not 40, you are 39. In the youth oriented society, wherein there are negative attitudes toward older adults, moving from the youth in group into the old out group can lead to anxiety. Social clock theory was developed by Garton and Helson. Social clock theory describes societal expectations that govern the timing of major life events such as beginning a first job, getting married, and birth of the first child, buying a home, and retiring. Right? They're constantly asking you, when are you going to have a child? When are you going to um I don't know, when are you going to get that promotion? When are you going to get married? According to this theory, deviating from social clocks may generate unfavorable comparisons of the self with others. According to the social clock theory, in which describes societal age graded expectations to accomplish, such as marriage and childbirth, and people have not achieved significant life tasks, um, can result in few I don't. If people have not achieved significant life tasks, can result in fear of growing older. Okay. Although few empirical studies have investigated this idea, there is a prescriptive timetable for accomplishing significant life events. People are aware of social clocks that operate in their own lives and their chance to do. And their chance to do. Excuse me, y'all. Let me slow down for a minute. According to this theory, deviating from the social clocks can generate unfavorable and stressful comparisons of the self and others. Therefore, the failure to achieve expected or desired life events undoubtedly leads to fear of aging. Um, I think that's a major thing. Yes, that's the part of brainwashing to say that there's something wrong. Society socializes women to think they want compassion. I mean, I think back in the day, you needed men for financial security, but I think even when you see women who are affluent, you can look at Cher, right? Cher went out and bought herself a little boy toy, like Madonna. Madonna's buying herself boy toys, like um. I don't know that I don't know if it's companionship or if it's sex or what it is. Again, I'm schizoid, so I need to recuse myself from this conversation. I don't need companionship. I think most people do want companionship on some level, even if it's somebody just to go out with and have a drink or somebody to talk to. I think in general, women probably prefer companionship with other women, but I think that eventually gets old, and then they basically want if they're heterosexual, then they basically want a man. I don't know because I mean I have mixed feelings about that because I do see a lot of older women who are completely happy being single, and they don't even seem to have a sex drive anymore. I mean, it depends. I think everybody's different. Some people do still want companionship, even if they are financially self sufficient. Did I miss a comment before that one? Let's see. Okay, I definitely have this fear. Yeah, it's something that I mean, I didn't think that I would even live to be this age. I'm just like, I don't know, man. I'm thinking, um, I don't know what my talk is, but my timeline is, but I don't want to get old. I don't even want to get see 50 at this point. I don't. I absolutely do not. Um, I think life because we talk in the anti-natalist community, we talk about how life is so such a burden. I think that life probably would not be such a terrible burden if the life expectancy was shorter. We keep talking about how life is so short. It's not short. It's actually very long. It's too long. So back in the day when the life expectancy was 33 or whatever it was, maybe that wouldn't be so bad. But to be 90 and 100 and 120, my grandma lived to be 107 years old. To hell with that. I'm not trying to grow that damn old. I do not want to be that old. I mean, perfectly. I would actually be perfectly fine if I were to go tomorrow, but um, I'm not trying to get to 50. I'm not. And I know to someone who's older that seems very shallow because you're saying 50 isn't old. It, what I'm saying is I don't want to get old. So I'm not saying that 50 is old. What I'm saying is I want to cut it off before I start, you know, declining and I don't want that. So that's fine if you want that. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with growing old for other people. I personally don't want that for myself. Okay, now let's keep going. Um, the double standard of aging theory. Double standard of aging theory was developed based on Susan Sontag's idea. According to this theory, social expectations require women to retain beauty with regard to physical appearance that may lead to experience anxiety about aging. The double standard of aging describes the fact that men are valued for their accomplishments that increase with age. However, women are valued for their appearance, which reduces with age. Yeah, that's true. If you actually have um, accomplishments, if you don't have accomplishment, you're just old, then yeah, nobody's going to want you either. Laws of status that accompanies aging, such as attractiveness and reproductive, leads to the expectation that reminders of aging produce anxiety for many women. According to double standard of aging, in which something this something about this is not worded correctly. According to double standards of aging, in which requires people, especially women, to retain beauty, they experience fear of aging with regard to physical appearance. Therefore, individuals, when facing with aging and their appearance and losing youth and beauty, results in a fear of aging and looking old. Okay, for some reason, I'm thinking that I'm just reading this wrong, but no, I'm not reading this wrong. It's not worded correctly. It is what it is, but yeah, I think that there is a double standards when it comes to looks. That women, when they get older, it's almost like they don't have any value in society because they are judged based on their looks and based on their fertility. Whereas men, even if they are older, if again, that's it's based on their level of success. Because if a man isn't successful, then he's basically going to be out the pasture also. Stereotype embodiment theory was proposed by Levy to describe the process by which age stereotypes influence the individual over their lifespan. According to SET, stereotypes are assimilated from surrounding culture, including popular norms and everyday interactions, which leads to a self-definition that influences function and health. Aging anxiety may derive from internalizing. Where is that? Where does this go? Okay, stereotypes in a youth-focused culture. The set proposes that age stereotypes can be internalized that consequently contribute to negative attitudes towards aging. It has been documented that it's been documented that negative attitudes toward aging could lead to fear of aging. Accordingly, those people living in a youth-focused culture have an increased fear of aging as they age. Um, it is. It's. I mean, especially in America. Let's read this. Let me start here first. It is quality for me as we age, we decline in everything: energy, sex drive, looks, etc. Yeah, yeah, and it's something that you don't think about until it actually happens, and then you're just like, now you have to take all these supplements and for Viagra and all this other stuff, and it's. I mean, I guess we're fortunate to live in a society where we have these things at our disposal, but it is something that you have to think about. Growing old is seen as a blessing and honor to normies. Yeah, I was asking you. You posted something on your wall about normies, and I was trying to find out what a normie. What does that mean? Is that just normal people? Is that what you mean? There was a post made about the death of Tito Jackson at 70, and people in the comments were talking about how young 70 is and what people need to do to last past 70. It's young if you take care of yourself, um, especially for a celebrity. And I know Tito wasn't wealthy because all that Jackson 5 money had already been spent. But um, I don't know. He looked young for 70. But what I'm saying is that an average 70 year old man just walking around on the streets is not going to look like Tito Jackson. I see people all around me right now who are 70. They don't look like that. Humans are really sick. Face purple crying. Okay, okay. And I think there's one little bit. With increased life expectancy, most people can expect to reach old age. One of the most important issues that individuals should be prepared is adjusting to the aging process. Um, I was going to save this for the end, but I guess I'll say it now. No, I don't think that we should be required to adjust to the aging process. I think if we don't want to go through the aging process, we should have the right to die. And that needs to be legalized in the United States, just as it has been legalized in Canada. Um, and you should be able to die for whatever reasons you want. It should not be a terminal illness. It should just be because your quality of life has declined, that you have determined that it is not worth living anymore. And you should have to get a psychological evaluation, and then you should be able to make a graceful exit. Um, Studies show that the fear of aging can harm health and link to poor physical and psychological health. With regard to identifying factors that contribute to fear of aging, may provide interventions to minimize this fear and promote successful adjustment to the aging process. This review was conducted to propose a theoretical framework. Um, you can work on a person to build their self confidence to say, oh, I'm going to accept that I'm older and I'm just going to age gracefully. That's fine and dandy, but at the end of the day, society is not evolving with you. Society is still judging you based on how you look and based on this number that has been a that has been given some social value. This I don't know. I think the number is not what should define a person. It's like, even if you are going to judge someone based on their utility, it should be based on their health, based on their looks, based on their cognitive function. But just to say a number, a 70-year-old is not the same for everyone. I mean, the age of 70 is not the same for everyone. 50 is not the same for everyone. There are people in their 40s who are extremely unhealthy, right? And it's like a bell curve. It's like, okay, so because that is the expectation that when you're 40 you're going to be overweight and diabetic. Now you're just going to lump all 40-year-olds in, and now all of a sudden 40-year-olds are old. It's like, no, 40-year-olds are used. I mean, they're healthy if they take care of themselves. 40 is not old. 50 is not really old. um I don't know. I mean, even 60 can then be healthy also if they take care of themselves. It's completely subjective. It's completely based on the individual. But I think the number doesn't really say much. And I don't know. Again, I think because the gay culture is what it is, I don't think that my quality of life is going to be that great when I get any older than 50. So I think it's a wrap. It's a wrap. I don't know if I need to move to Canada, but we need to legalize medically, or what is it called, medical assistance in dying. That needs to be a thing in America. It needs to be part of the discussion. And by the way, I'm going to do a short little thing about Jill Stein because it's a part of her platform. But I want y'all to pass it around and y'all can make your own little versions of it, that basically anti-natalists need to be supporting Jill Stein because she is a medical doctor and she's the only one who has um, death with dignity a part of her platform. So because of that, I am voting for her. But normie, okay, that's what I thought it meant. I thought it meant normal people. I prefer clinics rather than suicide pods over the counter pills. Um, I really don't care what it is. I just want their. I mean, when they initially make it legal, the kinks are going to need to be worked out. But the first step is to make it legal, and then we can work out which method is the most humane and all that stuff. But yeah, we're so far away from that at this point. Nobody's even talking about it. I mean, none of these presidential candidates, none of these state governors are being asked about that. They're trying to force everybody to have children, but then once we're here, we're forced to die a natural death, and we don't even get the right to decide when we go out, or how we go out. Um, yeah, I didn't really want to make this live stream about that, but I guess it's a part of it that if you don't want to go, because Whoopi Goldberg was talking about if you don't want to, what is the alternative to growing old? And then, well, the obvious answer is dying, right? But most people don't want to die, so they just go, oh, well, some of us don't care about dying. We just don't want to get old. So again, it sounds shallow, it sounds superficial, but it does have real import into a person's quality of life. So I don't want to get old. I know a lot of people don't want to get old, and I think we should not be forced to grow old. So with that, I think I am going to end this live stream. So y'all have a good night. and I will try to do more content soon.